the Honorable Danson Mungatana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 52.1 to make a statement on a matter of international and general topical concern, namely the Joint African Union AU Pan-African Parliament Electoral Observation Mission to the 24th June 2023 general elections in the Republic of Sierra Leone. Mr. Speaker, sir, Sierra Leone is a country approximately 8.7 million people, holds its general election every 5 years. The 24th June 2023 general elections were the 5th since the end of civil war in the country in the year 2002 and reaffirmed the consolidation of democratic governance in the country. The elections were held against the backdrop of pronounced economic hardships occasioned by massive unemployment, high levels of inflation, and a depreciating currency in the import-dependent nation that is still recovering from the COVID pandemic. Mr. Speaker, sir, the previous elections, particularly of 2018, were highly competitive, with the current president taking the win with 51.8% of the votes cast in the second round of voting that followed the first round, in which no candidate secured the requisite 55%. The 2008 elections witnessed divisive political rhetoric and amplified tensions. Mr. Speaker, sir, the African Union, at the invitation of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and in furtherance of its commitment to promote peaceful, credible, and democratic relations in its member states, deployed a short-term election observation mission of over 50 observers drawn from various African Union states comprising AU organs, notably the Pan-African Parliament, the Sierra Leone, the short-term observers led by His Excellency Haile Mariam Boshe, the former Prime Minister of the People's Republic, Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, who are mandated to assess and report on the degree to which the conduct of the elections met international standards for democratic elections. I was privileged to have represented the Parliament of Kenya and led the Pan-African Parliament delegation in the mission. Mr. Speaker, sir, the mission undertook multiple pre-election activities, including sensitization workshops for observers, mapping of polling stations, and consultations with major stakeholders in the country, among them the National Electoral Commission, the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, the Office of the National Security, His Excellency the President Julius Bio, who was seeking re-election, and Dr. Samura Kamara, who was the main opposition contender. Throughout the consultations, the mission observed the need for a peaceful and credible electoral process. Mr. Speaker, sir, 13 candidates, 12 men and 1 woman, declared interest in the presidential seat. The incumbent, His Excellency Julius Bio of the Sierra Leone People's Party, SLPP, retained the seat, having emerged the winner with 56.17%. In addition to the presidential seat, 135 parliamentary and 493 local council seats were in contention. The elections for members of parliament and councillors were conducted by the proportional representation system as opposed to the first-past-the-post system that was used for the presidential and mayoral elections. This meant that the people elected political parties of choice instead of directly voting for individual candidates. Mr. Speaker, sir, the AU mission observed voting in 219 polling stations in 13 of the 16 electoral districts in Sierra Leone. The observation mainly focused on factors that would impact the integrity of the elections and encompass, amongst other, the accessibility, staffing, security, delivery, and adequacy of voting material in polling stations. The overall assessment of the mission was that the elections were relatively peaceful, conducted in accordance with the laws of Sierra Leone, and were credible. Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the overall peaceful conduct of the general elections, isolated incidents of violence were reported in various areas throughout the electoral process. These acts of violence serve as a reminder of the ongoing work required to strengthen democratic practices and foster a culture of peaceful political engagement, not only in Sierra Leone but also in countries across Africa, where such is witnessed in almost every election cycle. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the run-up to the elections, there were also heightened tensions fueled by misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech propelled throughout social media. At the initiative of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists and the independent radio network in the country, iVerify, which is a technology-based fact-checking platform, was launched to proactively identify and respond to misinformation, disinformation, and hate speech. This was a remarkable initiative that worked to counter threats that had the potential to disrupt peace and security. Mr. Speaker, sir, noteworthy civil society organizations in Sierra Leone played a very vital role in ensuring the conduct of peaceful and transparent elections. These organizations, particularly the Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone, engaged in among other activities, the facilitation of dialogue between political parties, voter education campaigns, and polls observation in majority of the polling centers in the country. The Interreligious Council of Sierra Leone convened meetings between political parties and facilitated the signing of a peace pledge by presidential candidates. The presence and active involvement helped uphold accountability by both the government and electoral authorities and enhanced public trust in the process. The patriotism and valor displayed by these CSOs is remarkable. I urge our CSO to benchmark and emulate them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would like to commend the West African Elders Forum for its role in the just concluded elections in Sierra Leone. The forum consists of esteemed and experienced former leaders and statesmen whose efforts and collaborations are geared towards ensuring transparent and peaceful transition of power. Through their wisdom, experience, and impartiality, the forum contributes significantly to creating an environment conducive for credible elections and democratic governance. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I conclude, it is from the foregoing and my observation of the election process in Sierra Leone that I urge the following. 1. Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration to initiate engagements with the Ministry of East African Community, EAC, their SARS and regional developments towards the establishment of an East African Elders Forum as credible platform of eminent leaders who will engage in preventive diplomacy as a means of reducing electoral-related tension and violence in East Africa. 2. Standing Committee on Information, Communication and Technology to interrogate the capacity of the Media Council of Kenya and the Communications Authority of Kenya to promote responsible media practices and ensure the dissemination of accurate information. 3. A Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights to consider a review of the legal framework to provide for 1. Financial support from government to CSO and the media, more so during the election period, in recognition of the significant contributions they make in enhancing the accountability, transparency, and citizen participation in elections. This support will enable them conduct extensive voter education campaigns and monitoring of electoral process. 3.2. An office distinct from the IEBC to conduct expertise and guidance in areas of electoral management and good governance and dedicated to safeguarding the integrity of democratic processes and institutions in the nation. 4. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, in conjunction with the Office of the Attorney General and the Judiciary, publish a compendium of election practice to promote consistency and uniformity in the conduct of elections and the resolutions of electoral disputes. 5. The IEBC to adopt a collaborative approach to election management when there exists open, constructive dialogue with all political parties aimed at consensus building on key aspects of the election management system. 6. The National Treasury and Economic Planning to put in place measures aimed at ensuring timely disbursement of funding to IEBC to facilitate the seamless conduct of pre-election, election and post-election activities as per the IEBC calendar. The IEBC, the Judiciary, the National Police Service to make provisions in the budgets of their year preceding general elections for funding extensive capacity building programs for key players in the elections, including election officials, judges and police service officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to commend the people of the Republic of Sierra Leone for coming out peacefully in their numbers to cast their vote. The peaceful conduct of the elections and huge turnout of 83% at the polls is a testament of the maturity and resilience of the people of Sierra Leone and their determination to uphold democratic values and actively participate in shaping their nation's future. These elections have surely set a positive precedent for the consolidation of democracy and the pursuit of a prosperous Sierra Leone. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Before I proceed to call for